The courtroom doors opened at 10:45 a.m., and Dr. Nathan Wright entered wearing his white medical coat over a neatly pressed shirt and tie, as though he had come directly from the hospital. His stethoscope rested around his neck, a symbol, a message, a form of armor. At 47 years old, he carried himself with the assurance of someone who had spent decades being addressed as doctor and expecting special treatment wherever he went. He didn't appear nervous. He appeared irritated that he had been required to attend at all. Before we get into what unfolded inside that courtroom, if you believe in justice and want to support a new channel focused on sharing these powerful stories, please press the subscribe button and like this video. Every subscription helps us highlight more of Judge Caprio's wisdom. The bailiff called the case. The People vs. Dr. Nathan Wright. Case number 2024, TRF 2341. Charges included reckless driving, excessive speed, running a red light, and failure to yield. Total fines amounted to $950. Dr. Wright stepped forward without waiting to be summoned, his medical bag in hand. Your Honor, I'm Dr. Nathan Wright, a cardiothoracic surgeon at Rhode Island Medical Center. I have rounds in an hour, so I'd appreciate it if we could resolve this quickly. I'm ready to pay whatever fine is required. Judge Frank Caprio looked up from the paperwork, his 37 years on the bench immediately recognizing the attitude. Not remorse, but impatience. Dr. Wright, please approach the bench properly. Dr. Wright moved forward, placing his medical bag on the defense table as if he were claiming space. Your Honor, I understand I was cited for several traffic violations. I don't contest the facts. I was driving fast because I was being called in for an emergency surgery. A patient's life was on the line. I'm sure you understand that medical emergencies take priority over traffic laws. Let me be clear. You were responding to a medical emergency. A patient required immediate cardiac surgery. I'm one of only 3 surgeons in Rhode Island qualified to perform that specific procedure. When the hospital calls, I respond. Lives depend on it. Judge Caprio leaned forward. Dr. Wright, I'm reviewing Officer Thomas Chen's report from October 15th at 2:30 p.m. It states you were traveling 78 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone on Branch Avenue. You ran a red light at the intersection of Waterman Street and cut off another vehicle while changing lanes. Is that correct? Approximately, yes. As I explained to the officer, I was responding to a surgical emergency. I've been a surgeon for 15 years. I've saved hundreds of lives. I don't believe a few traffic violations while saving a life should be treated the same as a teenager joyriding. Doctor Wright, did the officer confirm this emergency with the hospital? He wanted to, but I didn't have time to wait. The patient couldn't wait. I told him to issue whatever tickets he felt necessary, and I'd address it later, which is exactly what I'm doing now. Judge Caprio picked up another document. According to Officer Chen's report, he did contact Rhode Island Medical Center. They confirmed you were scheduled for surgery that day, but it was not an emergency. It was a planned procedure scheduled 2 weeks in advance. Dr. Wright's jaw tightened. All cardiac surgery is urgent, Your Honor. These patients are critically ill. Just because it was scheduled doesn't make it unimportant. But you told Officer Chen it was an emergency surgery. You said a patient's life depended on your immediate arrival. I was simplifying the situation. I don't expect a traffic officer to understand the complexities of surgical scheduling. The courtroom went quiet at the casual contempt in his voice. What followed would change everything. Judge Caprio picked up a tablet. Dr. Wright, Officer Chen was wearing a body camera. I'd like to view the footage of your traffic stop. Your Honor, is that truly necessary? I've admitted the violations. I'm willing to pay the fines. Can't we just finish this? Play the video. The screen displayed dashcam footage of a silver BMW 7 Series, valued at $95,000, aggressively weaving through traffic at high speed. The vehicle cut off a minivan, forcing it to brake hard. Moments later, the BMW ran a red light, narrowly avoiding a collision with cross traffic. The body camera footage showed Officer Chen approaching the BMW. Sir, license and registration. I clocked you at 78 in a 35. You ran a red light and nearly caused 2 accidents. Dr. Wright's voice was clear, sharp, and impatient. I'm a doctor. I'm on my way to save someone's life. Write the ticket if you have to, but do it quickly. Sir, can you provide verification of this medical emergency? I don't have time for this. Do you understand what emergency surgery means? It means someone could die while you waste my time with bureaucratic nonsense. I'm Dr. Nathan Wright, Chief of Cardiothoracic Surgery. Look me up. I've probably saved more lives than you've written tickets. Officer Chen remained professional. Sir, I need to verify. Get out of my way. I have important work to do, unlike standing on the roadside playing traffic cop. Write the tickets and send them to my office. But if my patient dies because you delayed me, I'll make sure everyone knows it was because a power-hungry cop couldn't handle a doctor who was actually doing something meaningful." The video ended. The courtroom was left stunned by the doctor's arrogance and hostility. If Judge Caprio's compassion inspires you the way it inspires millions of others, please support us by subscribing to the channel. We're just beginning, and your subscription truly matters. Dr. Wright stood at the defense table, his face flushed. "Your Honor, I was under extreme stress. Those words don't represent who I am." "Dr. Wright, you told a police officer that his job was meaningless. You implied your work mattered more than public safety. You even threatened him with blame if your patient died. Those were not words spoken under stress. They were words that exposed what you truly believe. That your medical license places you above the rules that apply to everyone else. With respect, Your Honor, I believe you're taking this out of context. I devote my life to saving people. I work 12-hour shifts. I'm constantly on call. I miss family gatherings because patients depend on me. When I'm driving to perform surgery, yes, I prioritize getting there over traffic laws. I believe that's reasonable." Judge Caprio removed his glasses. "Dr. Wright, what if I told you that the minivan you cut off, the one that had to brake hard to avoid hitting you, was driven by Maria Santos, a 34-year-old mother of two? Her 6-year-old daughter was in the back seat, not wearing a seatbelt because Maria had just picked her up from school and was still securing her when you forced her to slam on the brakes. The little girl struck her head on the seat in front of her. Dr. Wright said nothing. Or that the vehicle you nearly struck at the red light was driven by Robert Chen, a 72-year-old man on his way to his wife's chemotherapy appointment. He has a heart condition. The shock of almost being hit by your BMW caused his blood pressure to spike. He had to pull over for 15 minutes to calm himself before continuing. His wife missed the first 30 minutes of her treatment. I didn't know. You didn't bother to know. You were so focused on where you needed to be that you failed to consider that everyone else on the road also had somewhere important to go. That their lives and safety mattered just as much as your surgery schedule. Dr. Wright's voice rose defensively. Your Honor, I've been saving lives for 15 years. Hundreds of patients are alive today because of my skills, my dedication, my willingness to drop everything and respond when they need me. I think that should count for something. It does count for something, Dr. Wright. It counts for the fact that you should understand better than most how fragile life is. How quickly it can be taken by reckless choices. You open people's chests and repair their hearts. You know exactly what happens to the human body in a high-speed collision. And yet you drove 78 miles per hour through a residential area, putting everyone around you at risk. I had somewhere important to be. So did Maria Santos picking up her daughter. So did Robert Chen taking his wife to chemotherapy. So did everyone else on that road. Your destination does not make you more important than theirs. Dr. Wright stepped forward, his voice taking on a lecturing tone. Your Honor, I think you're missing the bigger picture. I'm not some reckless teenager. I'm a professional with years of training. I make life and death decisions every day. I know how to evaluate risk. When I'm driving to the hospital, I'm making calculated decisions about acceptable risk versus the urgency of patient care. Dr. Wright, are you seriously suggesting that your medical training gives you the right to break traffic laws? I'm saying that context matters. A surgeon running a red light to save a patient is not the same as a drunk driver running a red light. There should be different standards for people whose work actually matters to society. The courtroom erupted into shocked murmurs. Judge Caprio raised his hand for silence. Dr. Wright, let me be sure I understand your position. You believe your profession gives you permission to drive recklessly? You believe surgeons should be held to different standards than other citizens. I believe that people who dedicate their lives to saving others deserve some consideration when they're trying to do their jobs. Yes, and Officer Chen, who stopped you that day? What about his job? He's dedicated his life to keeping roads safe, to preventing accidents that kill thousands every year. Does his work matter to society? That's not the same. Why not? Because he doesn't wear a white coat. Because his title isn't Dr. Officer Chen has 20 years of service. He's likely saved lives too, by stopping drunk drivers, by enforcing speed limits in school zones, by investigating accidents and finding ways to prevent future ones. Yet you told him his work was meaningless. Dr. Wright's face flushed deeper. I was frustrated. I said things I shouldn't have. Are you apologizing, Dr. Wright? The doctor paused, his jaw tightening. When he finally spoke, his voice was rigid. I regret my tone with the officer. That is not an apology. I asked if you are apologizing. I've explained the circumstances. I've acknowledged my language was inappropriate. I'm offering to pay whatever fines are required. What more do you want? I want you to understand why you're wrong. I want you to recognize that saving lives does not give you permission to endanger them. I want you to acknowledge that Officer Chin deserves respect, that Maria Santos and her daughter deserve safety, that Robert Chen and his wife deserve to reach their appointments without being terrorized by your reckless driving. Can you do that? Dr. Wright stood silent, his pride visibly battling the reality before him. I'm waiting, Dr. Wright, Your Honor, I'm a surgeon. I've spent 15 years, I don't care about your resume. I care whether you understand that your medical degree does not place you above the law or above basic human decency. Doctor Wright's voice turned cold. I don't think I need to explain myself to you. The courtroom fell completely silent. Even his own attorney looked horrified. Judge Caprio stood from the bench, something he rarely did. Dr. Wright, you've just made this much worse. The standard fine for your violations would be $950, but your complete lack of remorse, your disregard for public safety, your contempt for Officer Chen, and your refusal to acknowledge the harm you could have caused tell me you have learned nothing. Your Honor, I am imposing the maximum fine of $1,850. In addition, you will complete 80 hours of mandatory traffic safety education. You will attend an advanced defensive driving course, and you will complete coursework on the consequences of reckless driving. Dr. Wright's mouth fell open in shock. 80 hours? I don't have 80 hours. I have surgeries booked. Patients who rely on me. Then you'll need to adjust your schedule. Fourth, you will complete 60 hours of community service. You will serve those hours at the Rhode Island Trauma Center, working directly with accident victims and their families. You will see firsthand what happens when drivers believe their urgency excuses reckless behavior. You can't force me to work with trauma patients. I'm a cardiac surgeon, not you are a person who endangered lives. Now you will assist people whose lives were endangered by drivers just like you. Perhaps, just perhaps, you will develop some empathy. This is absurd. I'm going to appeal this. I'll take it to a higher court. You're free to appeal, but until that appeal is heard, my ruling stands. And Dr. Wright, I'm forwarding a copy of this case, including the body camera footage, to the Rhode Island Board of Medical Licensure. Not to threaten your license, but to ensure they are aware that one of their physicians believes his medical degree exempts him from traffic laws. They may wish to speak with you about professional conduct. Dr. Wright's face drained of color. You're reporting me to the medical board over traffic tickets? I'm reporting you because your attitude, your belief that your profession makes you more important than other people's safety, is deeply troubling. Medicine demands humility. It demands respect for all human life, not only the lives of your patients. You've shown a disturbing lack of both. I save lives every day. You're punishing me for trying to help people. I'm holding you accountable for endangering people while claiming you are helping them. There is a difference. Court is adjourned. You have 14 days to enroll in your traffic safety course and begin your community service hours. Failure to comply will result in license suspension and possible jail time. The gavel came down with finality. As Dr. Wright gathered his medical bag, Officer Chen stood near the exit. The doctor attempted to pass without acknowledging him, but the officer spoke. Dr. Wright, I hope you take this seriously. Those classes and that community service are not punishment. They're an opportunity to understand what we see every day on the roads. Dr. Wright did not respond. He pushed through the doors, already on his phone, likely calling his attorney about the appeal. But something unexpected occurred over the next 4 months. The traffic safety course forced Dr. Wright to confront statistics he had ignored. That traffic accidents kill more than 40,000 Americans every year. That speeding and reckless driving are leading causes. That many victims are professionals rushing to important jobs, just like him. The defensive driving training revealed how many near misses he had probably caused without ever noticing, but it was the community service that truly transformed him. Working at the trauma center, he met Jennifer Martinez, a 28-year-old ICU nurse paralyzed by a driver who ran a red light while simply running late for work. He met David Chen, a 17-year-old who lost both parents when a speeding driver crossed the center line. He met families shattered by people who believed their urgency justified reckless driving. One evening, while helping a family understand their father's injuries after a high-speed collision, the daughter asked him, "Do you think the other driver thought they had somewhere important to be too?" That question stayed with him. 3 months into his service, Dr. Wright returned to Judge Caprio's courtroom, not because he was required to, but because he wanted to. He waited through the afternoon docket, and when the final case concluded, he approached the bench. "Your Honor, I wanted to say something I should have said months ago. I'm sorry. I was arrogant and dangerous. I believed my medical license made me special, made my time more valuable than other people's safety. I was wrong." Judge Caprio studied the doctor carefully. "Dr. Wright, what changed?" "I met a family whose father was struck by a surgeon running late to surgery. The irony wasn't lost on me. He survived, but he'll need years of rehabilitation. The surgeon who hit him said nearly the same things I said to Officer Chen, that his work was too important to wait for traffic lights. The family asked me if I thought that was acceptable. I couldn't say yes, and I realized that's exactly what I had been doing. That's wisdom speaking, Dr. Wright. I still save lives, but now I leave earlier for surgeries. I take the extra 5 minutes. I stop at red lights. Because I finally understand that the people I could hurt on the way to save one patient, they are someone's patient too. They are someone's parent, child, spouse. They matter just as much. 6 months after his court date, Dr. Wright completed all his requirements. But he didn't stop there. He volunteered to speak at medical conferences about physician driving behavior. He launched a program at Rhode Island Medical Center requiring all physicians to complete defensive driving training. And he personally apologized to Officer Chen, to Maria Santos and her daughter, and to Robert Chen and his wife. If this story touched your heart, if you believe judges like Frank Caprio represent the best of our justice system, please support our new channel by subscribing and liking this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear that justice and compassion can exist together. Comment below with your city. Let's build a community that believes in fairness for everyone. 2 years later, Dr. Nathan Wright remained one of Rhode Island's top cardiac surgeons. But he was also known as the doctor who learned humility the hard way and used that lesson to help others. The program he started at the hospital reduced physician traffic violations by 40% and became a model for other medical centers. Judge Caprio kept Officer Chen's report on his desk, a reminder that sometimes the people who save lives forget that includes the lives of the strangers they pass on the road. The courtroom truly is the great equalizer, where medical degrees mean nothing and character means everything. Dr. Wright entered that courtroom believing his white coat was armor. He left understanding that real authority comes not from credentials, but from respecting every life, even when you're rushing to save one. That's not just justice. That's humanity.